In a startling new account released by the Russian Defense Ministry, testimonies from captured Ukrainian prisoners of war reveal alarming tactics allegedly used by Kyiv's military to conscript individuals into the army. These accounts shed light on the coercive methods reportedly employed to bolster Ukraine's military ranks. One of the captured soldiers recounted his experience, describing how he was summoned by the government and forced into military service despite his reluctance to go to war.
I had just gotten back from work, from the night shift, and they gave me a summons. The draft board came and told me to pass the medical commission, but I didn't go through the commission. They did everything for me. They drafted me, and I wanted to serve, return home, and that's it. I wasn't supposed to go to war, not for anything. But they said, "Come on, move to the position."
The soldier's account suggests that he was coerced into service, with little regard for his willingness or preparedness. He was simply told to hold a position with no choice in the matter, and that how Ukrainian soldiers shot at them and made them strip everything down.
They put me in a vehicle and took me, along with 2 other guys. Then they put us in an APC. They told us to occupy a 2-story building, not to take it, but to hold the defense there. They said there wouldn't be anyone there. We were supposed to enter the building, either on the 2nd floor or somewhere, just to hold the position, so that no one would pass through. Then they started shooting, and we were shouting that we were on their side. They told us that we would be met there. We responded, "No, we're on your side." Then they said, "Hands up, strip down." We stripped, laid everything down, and left.
The soldier went on to express his disillusionment, likening his treatment to being used as cannon fodder. He questioned the very purpose of the war and lamented the widespread loss of life.
So they're just throwing us like meat, simply as meat, stupidly. No one wants this war. This war is not needed by anyone. And our government, I don't even know, I don't have words. Why is this war happening? Why this destruction? How many people have already died?
Another prisoner of war shared a similar story, detailing how he was handed a summons by the police after returning home from work. Despite his attempts to evade conscription, he was eventually drafted and subjected to harsh conditions.
I was coming home from work when the cops handed me a summons. I approached the draft board. They gave me a summons. I dodged for a month, ran away, hid. We are treated negatively, like meat. To be honest, I'll never go back there in my life. Nothing excused how I ended up in their brigade. I was never once with their brigade on the training ground. They treated us like the higher-ups, like we didn't even exist, like meat, like slave labor.
The soldier also spoke of the false promises made to the conscripts, describing how what was supposed to be a 3-day assignment turned into a grueling week.
The same thing when they sent us to the position to dig. They took us somewhere to dig, dropped us there. In the dark, we came to the position in a vehicle. They took us, it was all done in the dark at night. They said it would be for 3 days, but it turned out not to be 3 days, but 7 days. I'm against the war. I want there to be a truce. For some kind of agreement, please, please, enough of this bloodshed and throwing people into the main slaughter. I said goodbye to life at least 10 times, so as not to lie to you.
A third soldier recounted being forced into a bunker for 10 days, unable to even stick his head out due to constant drone strikes and shelling.
They brought us in. We sat in the bunker for 10 days. We couldn't even stick our heads out because there were constant strikes. The drone was always hanging overhead. Constantly strikes. I came out and said, "Guys, do an evacuation, at least 100 meters. The guys said, "Hang on just a little longer." The next day they took us.
After enduring 10 days in these dire conditions, the soldier and his comrades were eventually captured by Russian forces. He described their surrender as inevitable, a moment devoid of hope or resistance.
The guys came to the position, entered the bunker. We told them, "We're on your side. Don't shoot. Everything's okay." They told us, "Come out with your hands up." We came out, said guys. Don't shoot. We're surrendering. No one wants to fight. We're just sitting here. No one is taking us. I'll even have words. They just threw us like meat. We were sitting there like kittens, even afraid to stick our heads out because drones were always hovering over us.
The soldier concluded by revealing that he was forced into service against his will, under threat of imprisonment. This starkly highlights the alleged violations of personal freedom occurring in the conflict.
The first time, I didn't want to go to the position at all. I refused. They told me go or else. Then I called a lawyer, and she said I would end up in prison. Refusal to follow orders, criminal liability. Don't go to the position 7 years. That's what they openly told me. Friends in stripes, in checkered clothes. I talked to my mother, and she said refuse. Don't go to this position. I said, how do I get out of the trenches? Because my commander told me, drop everything and get out of here. But how? Go where? When I'm out in the open. But I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want anything anymore.
These harrowing testimonies paint a grim picture of the conditions faced by Ukrainian soldiers on the front lines. Coercion, deception, and a sense of abandonment by their own leadership. As these accounts continue to emerge, they raise critical questions about the true cost of the ongoing conflict and the toll it takes on those forced to fight in a war many say they never wanted. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian State Emergency Service reported on Tuesday that 2 people were killed and 5 others injured after a Russian missile struck a hotel in Kyiv overnight. The attack partially destroyed the 4-story building in President Zelensky's hometown, a city that has been repeatedly targeted in the past. The strike on Kyiv followed a heavy barrage the day before, which targeted energy facilities across Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the attacks, describing them as vile, and noted that civilian infrastructure was heavily damaged. The Kyiv region, already struggling with blackouts, faced 5 air alerts during the night, though air defenses managed to intercept all incoming drones and missiles. However, the falling debris ignited forest fires, exacerbating the devastation. In Russia, officials reported that 4 Ukrainian missiles were shot down over the Kursk region, where the ongoing conflict has raised concerns about the safety of the nearby nuclear power plant, prompting a visit from International Atomic Energy Agency Chief Rafael Grossi. As the bloodshed continues, the war-torn areas are further complicated by the tales of the captured soldiers and the endless bombardment of civilians, with peace fading further away.